Thompson.
Here.
Weimer.
Yep. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Are you streaming live or are we recording?
Recording.
Okay. All right, can I get an approval of the agenda?
Motion. Second.
Motion by John, second by Aaron to approve the agenda. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. I would like to skip those first two things and bump down until Scott can get here. So let's do approval of minutes, November 4th regular meeting minutes.
Having read through them, I so move they be approved. Thank you, Susan.
I'll second.
Motion by Naima, second by Aaron to approve the November 4th regular meeting minutes. Everyone in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. And the special meeting minutes from November 13th.
Having read them also, I move that they be approved.
I'll second.
All right, motion by Naima, second by Aaron to approve the special meeting minutes from November 13th. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Citizen comments?
No,
Your part.
no, well, I want to talk about the ESL classes. They will, pending, there'll be a class next week pending that the EMTs can do a CPR class for them. And then they are postponing all classes until January 13th. So if the facility is available starting in January, Monday nights, for 30 December.
So next week, EMT
If-
CPR class.
Yes, if they can't do, if Scott's supposed to get back to me,
Okay.
if they can't do it, then I don't know if I'll have a class.
What date? January what?
13. They'll begin again.
Okay.
And then I submitted the letter from the committee requesting the funding that you had graciously given them to help pay for the SDSU students' gas, and the rest will go towards class resource books.
Awesome.
And they are trying to get another grant to do the SSL, Spanish as second language.
Nice.
Okay.
Amazing.
What is this from?
In there, that just needs to be done. I had that for
Post office.
Oh, I didn't realize it. Okay.
Welcome. Come on in. Anybody else citizens comments?
I do. There's been a couple people that are concerned about some of the vehicles that have been parked and not moved and maybe new tags. And they're worried about how all the plowing is going to be. So I propose that,
It's dear graduation today.
that's
Here we go.
that with their rounds, then they kind of look at everything and see what's what, and if they need to be ticketed and towed, so yeah, that's what the proposal was. I agree with that because there are a couple that have been sitting there for a long time. That's the only thing that I have.
I have one more thing. First of all, I would like to, again, thank you for the use of the community center for this so that we can share. We had off and on up to 18 people participate as far away as Sinai, Aurora, White, Brookings, Bird Eye, and then the Elton area, ward in the Elton area. And I would like to request use again of the community center on December 21st for the same project. It's available. I checked with Susan today, and they're going to continue it. That was the overall consensus of everyone who was there.
Do you have a count of what you guys ended up making?
Oh, it's an ongoing project. I finished the binding on 4 quilts today, so I will be taking 5 finished quilts up to Brookings. They'll hand those out to the Sleep in Heavenly Peace. I did put Sleep in Heavenly Peace brochures out where you walk in the door. They, all the information for anyone you know. I mean, there's more people than you realize whose kids sleep on the floor. Then, this isn't just for that project though. As it continues and builds, they wish to donate to work projects for other charitable causes. But that's where we are right now. So again, thank you. And the Elton Record did a beautiful article, and I wanted to make sure that everyone got thanked because that's the only way we can do it. So again, thanks.
5 quilts is impressive in days work.
There's one that I gotta take up to be quilted, and I know there's 5 out there that'll be coming in.
It's amazing. Good job.
I should tell you also, our age group went from 12 years old up to, lowest, probably 70s. So,
Yeah. Would you elaborate for the folks that are not knowing what you're speaking of and haven't watched the tape or attended the meeting?
okay.
Please.
So that we can share was something that got created. There have been a lot of input, a lot of requests that people wanted to do things, but didn't know how they could do. Whatever they did, they wanted to do for a reason. They wanted it to be meaningful. And we have a lot of talented women. These are all women. Don't have to be. There's a lot of talented sewers, quilters as men. And they gathered that day to sew these quilts because the Sleep in Heavenly Peace program, if you're not aware of it, is an organization whose goal is that no child should sleep on the floor. So they get grants, and there's a group in Brookings, and by the way, they go 50 miles radius. People apply for them. They receive they're not necessarily bunk beds or twin beds, whatever will fit into the rooms, and they provide them the bunk bed or twin size bed, the mattress, the bedding, all the bedding, and at times a stuffed animal or something. And there's a presentation. It's a national organization. You have to meet certain criteria. They don't want anything shoddy. I mean, for the bunk beds. And that's what it is. And so we met and had a speaker from the Sleep in Heavenly Peace program, Amy Wells, who arranges the deliveries, and Vicki McDougall, who gets everything together so that it's ready to go. What other questions can I answer? But more than anything else, I think everyone enjoyed sharing and sharing their talents and doing something that was meaningful. That's just what it was. It was sewing and not just taking it someplace and sticking it in, not knowing where it's going to go. It had a destiny. It had a reason.
Do we need to approve the use of the center for the 21st?
Okay.
No, it's a community event.
And if you know of anybody, take a brochure. They have to apply for it. It's just not a given. So they do have to do an application.
Is it in Spanish in some area?
I have to double check on that one. This might just be in English, this particular brochure. It's more informational. I'll have to go look at it again.
I don't think there's English or Spanish on it.
On it in there. No, I don't believe so either. Did they say anything that day, Susan? Do you remember when they gave their talk?
I looked at their site, I don't believe there's any Spanish, but I could be wrong.
Well, several of the people who work with that organization, also work with the, Bueno Vidos. I got it, that's not even right. That's Bienvenidos.
Bienvenidos.
Yeah, Bienvenidos group, which is Welcome to Brookings, and that's the group that got us, that is helping coordinate the ESL, so.
Awesome. Thank you, Christie. So next is our resignation acceptance. Do you wanna read the letter there, Susan?
Yeah. Says to the city council, as of November 13th, I gave a verbal resignation, but here is my written one as of November 19th, Dave Landsman.
So the council, the way it works, I have a little
We
bit
need
of.
to motion to accept it.
Oh, okay, we need a motion to accept his resignation.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Naima, second by Scott, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So, I have a little write-up from the municipal league on what happens in the vacancy, with the vacancy in the office of the mayor. If there's a vacancy for any cause in the office of the mayor, the vacancy shall be filled by appointment by a majority vote of the aldermen as soon as practical, to serve until the office is filled by election, which is next spring. So, until the vacancy is filled during the time of temporary absence or disability of the mayor, the powers and the duties of the mayor are executed by the president or vice president. So, we just need to appoint a new mayor, and then / council seat.
I move that you, as president, be appointed the mayor until the election comes up in the spring.
I'll second.
Anyone else have interest in it?
Yeah.
No? Okay, I will take on the role, that's fine, so we have, I don't know how that works, we just vote on it?
A roll call vote.
Moralia,
Yes.
Stupen,
Yes.
Fazy,
Yes.
Thompson.
Yes.
I don't know.
I still get a vote, it's
Wiener?
weird, yes.
Yes.
I can't, as the president, I can't break tie votes, so if ever the next president coming up, you don't break tie votes, but you still get your vote, even if you're acting as mayor. Strange.
So motion carried.
Yep.
Motion
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Mrs. Mayor.
Do we have any petitions and communications?
No.
No.
You might wanna talk about filling the seat.
Oh,
Yes.
We don't have to fill the seat. If you have somebody that's interested in Ward 2 that wants to fill the seat between now and the next election, they will just, otherwise, it can stay vacant. We've had that before.
It's hard to hit your.
Why don't we put out the paper and see if there's any
Yeah.
interest?
You could.
And then we can do it in the social media area, et cetera, and anyone that shows interest would be able to step up. And go
Contact
They want,
council member
yeah,
or Susan.
maybe you
Susan.
write a brief description of why they wanna be on the council. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, I think that'd be
Vote on it
great.
at our next meeting.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, point of order. You have a vice president who now, because of you serving as mayor, is now the president, and I would suggest that, Mr. Stufen be moved from vice president to president, so that you have that continuity there.
Yeah.
Yep.
You up for that challenge, Scott? Does anybody want to take the role of vice president then? Okay. So let's do a vote on both of them separately, that way we get it. So, motion by Naima, second by
I'll second.
John, for presidency going to Scott. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I don't think we need that.
And
And then can we get a second on the vice president?
We have a
then there's a
motion.
motion I move that Aaron, be accepted as vice president.
Second.
Okay, motion by Naima, second by Scott for Aaron to become the vice president. All in favor?
Aye.
It
Yeah.
takes some getting used to doing this, so bear with me. Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thanks.
It's all right.
The paparazzi over here. I'm getting it.
There's no flash. What happened? Okay. So, employee reports. Start at the top there. You ready, Steve?
Yep.
Come back to your question thing.
Oh,
In the end.
oh, at the
Let me
end,
know first, so you can
okay.
stop.
On November 5th through the 7th, Eric and I attended a class in Brookings on water distribution, and I got contact hours. He went for contact hours also and took the test. He missed it by a few questions, but so he can take it again. He doesn't have to take the class and stuff again. He can take the test just whenever it's available to him. So at least now he kind of knows what to look for and what they're wanting. I ordered the jetter on November 6th. I left a message with the salesman earlier last week, and he's on vacation, so didn't hear anything back from him. I talked to some people about extra help with snow removal and stuff. Ryan and Shelby Brady and Mike Jensen would be able to help, depending on if they're, they all have their own stuff to do, and if they're available, they'd help, whatever. So I talked to Eric Jones about using his side dump trailer. He said that'd be all right. He said $100 an hour. We can use it all we want. So, and he supplies the driver and fuel and everything. It's just $100 an hour to haul it. So we started hauling snow today. We're taking some out to Danny Brown's out here east of Elton, in between. It'll be about 1.5 miles out of town. There's a side hill out there, and we can dump it right there, and it'll run through the pasture and stuff. So, and we'll continue doing that until it either gets too soft or something else happens or whatever. Got the school's drain tile situation all straightened out. We extended the line. We ran a new line because the old one was froze after it was shut off. Run a new line, run it over to the drain, put cones up, all that stuff. That seems to be working fine. Greg and I went and talked to Mr. Vandal, and we kind of come up with a backup plan where they put another pump in there. So in case if it did freeze, it could go into the sanitary, but it wouldn't be flooding their electrical panels and stuff in the basement, so we could address it right away anyway. So I was able to remove the pump on 4th and Beaver. That pump is no longer, there just wasn't enough water flowing through it anymore, so it wasn't doing any good. So had to put new floats in that lift station by the trailer houses there. Our water sampling, we're required to with the sanitary overflow, is we're required to sample once a week for that, and then we're still on a monthly sample for the lagoon. And that'll probably stay like that until we're out of this sanitary sewer overflow. So I talked to the DNR about once every 2 weeks, if not weekly, and let them know what's going on yet. And we got the Christmas lights put up last week, and that's all I have.
There, under citizens' comment, there was a conversation about not abandoned cars, but there's some cars that haven't moved for quite a while. And wanted to make sure that we knew about it and got rid of them, told or what have you, if there was gonna be a problem with the plowing, because you have to go around and so on.
Yeah.
So, as you're doing that, if you could, go ahead and, you and Susan figure out the ordinances and tag and tow, if that's something that can be done.
Yeah.
All the alleyways. People move some of their stuff, or is it?
Some of them did, some of them, looks like they hauled more stuff out there. And that's gonna be an issue that's gonna have to be addressed as we get more snow, and it's just gonna fill in.
Is there anything in the ordinances about how far back you have to keep stuff away from the alley? I don't know that one off the top of my head. I'll have to look into that one.
Isn't it 10 feet?
That's building, built, yeah, I don't know if that's necessarily.
Well, once that is looked into, then the two of you can handle, however handle it however it needs to be. If it's within what it is that we have, then deal with that, and if not, then bring it up for our next meeting, and we can work with it. Cool, I hope everything gets out.
We wanna make your life as easy as possible with snow removal.
Yeah. No snow would be great.
Alright.
No rain, no snow.
Alright, Jason, bar manager?
Held a couple events, we did have some karaoke the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, with all the snow and whatnot. It wasn't as good as we wanted, but we did have a good crowd come out. We're still doing football every Sunday, so, we're doing good there. Status quo as usual. We did get the cameras upgraded, so we did stop in Wednesday, Friday last week and got them all upgraded. He will be back, he thought, later this week to install a couple more that are just the outside patio and then one over the register, which is kind of a standard among many restaurant bars. So hopefully we'll have that all up and done here in the next week or two.
Awesome,
That's all I got for you.
perfect.
Questions? One thing, they had the trip, or whatever, the electrical trip, the ice machine.
Yes, yep.
Stuff need to be on its own circuit.
Yep, and they are gonna come back, they thought this week to do
Yeah.
it. They weren't
Yeah.
really sure.
Okay, you
Next,
were.
yeah,
you
next
were in
couple of
touch with
days,
it.
yep.
Okay,
They're
yeah.
gonna come back and put a new circuit in for just the ice machine. So we can run that on it, and then that should stop it from tripping if
Yep.
we have any overloads or anything, so.
Isn't it kinda odd that it randomly started tripping? Never had issues with it before?
I think they plugged out in it'd be the north side of that, bar. If you plug too many things in and try to run too many things, it does kick the breaker.
Cause it was the popcorn machine, the
Yep,
TV,
the TV.
the ice machine,
Yep.
and all that stuff was all tied into one.
Yep, and they had it all tied into one, and then it sounds like somebody had a couple of, cell phone chargers in, and then one of the bartenders had theirs in the back, and we just kind of did a little too much, and so.
It's a real simple fix. We should
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
Just do it and be done. One, it's pretty
Yeah.
hard on your ice machine and all that stuff, cause it was like running, but not like running.
Right, yeah, so they'll get that fixed, they thought sometime,
Okay, good.
this week. And then he also informed me that because we installed LED lights, we might be able to get a little bit of a rebate back on our lights, so you guys are aware of that.
Awesome, yay, good job, Jason.
Have another one you can give me?
Yes, several.
So say I printed 10, so.
Thank you.
And I'm thinking, wait a minute, that looks like that, oh, it's good, okay.
Park and Rec?
Let's see, other than.
Hold on a minute,
okay.
Jason, I think you have a typo here.
Oh, I
You
thought.
had $18,000 in lottery commission.
Oh, of course we did.
Yeah.
1,800, yes, I will get that fixed, and send it to you.
I'm like, that seems off, like a lot of income there.
So it's 1,800.
100.
18, it says 18,665, so would it be 18,665?
Yes, yes, yep. I believe so. I'll correct it and get that sent to you so you can forward it to everybody. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Last month when I was here, we talked about a tree for the park and rec. Well, the tree that I thought I could use turns out to belong to somebody else. So I'm to do a tree for the festival of Christmas trees. I just gotta go out into a cold shed in my shed and find one. So I have them out there. So it's not up yet. But the main thing I would like to I have a proposal tonight. And it's something that, I apologize to the committee members, they got the email very late, like today. Took me a little longer to draft it than I anticipated. But what I would like to present to the city council tonight is, through the Park and Rec, as you've all I've been hearing a lot of talk and visiting, I've heard it here, I've heard it elsewhere, on an ongoing discussion of the community needs for the various ages of our Elton residents, from young to older, regarding social activities and opportunities, after school, at other times of the week, community projects, continuing ed, and so on throughout the year, not just the summer season. And so I would like to ask, I appreciate the opportunity that I'd like to research the needs and the interests of the community and the feasibility, the cost, the practicalities, the opportunities if the interest is there. And now comes for the sucker me thing. This is something I am willing to do as a volunteer. If you haven't already noted or whatever you'd like, I'm a firm believer in a community. And in order to be part of a community, you need to invest in the community. And I think Elton has a lot of awesome possibilities, and I personally feel there's a lot of, not big needs, but little needs, especially after the dreary last winter, after this dreary summer. I mean, there's just, it's just there. For example, so that we can share. That was something I heard a lot of information about, and I wish there was. And so it wasn't a hard thing to put together. And whether 3 people would have showed up or just 2 of us, I would still consider it a success if we would accomplish something. And so that's just an example. But I would like to, I'd like to know that if I go ahead and do this research and so forth, that I will be permitted to present this information, preferably through the Park and Rec Committee, and as a report. So that is where I'm at. Because I'm not going to do it if it's something that if there is absolutely no endorsement of any kind. I'm not saying that's going to cost the city much of anything. I have no ideas. I have some preliminary sketches of ideas and notes that I've been taking, but I don't have anything concrete for you at this point. I also don't believe in doing something when I know it's going to be thrown out the door, if that's a possibility. So I guess what I'm asking for tonight through the Park and Rec part of the council is, if I get this together, I would like your endorsement that I can present it through the committee. That's what I'm asking.
And you got the same email?
Yep.
And I know Greg did.
No, John.
John, I'm sorry.
The committee members.
Yeah, committee, you don't look like Greg. You're a guy though. But what I would like to do for as long as I've been on the council, there's been this conversation of expanding the Park and Rec to do some of the things that you're actually doing with Scott here in terms of bringing things together in the community under one banner. And the things that you had done with your beautiful wife last year and so on, it was a really good program. It really worked really well. Everybody else isn't going to be able to come back next year, and I understand all the reasons why. But having had everyone say that Park and Rec is playing a good role, I appreciate you offering to do this in a volunteering kind of a situation. But I would also like you to consider, whether it's now or a little later on, taking on that role of the Park and Rec director, because we're talking about Christmas stuff, we're talking about New Year, we're talking about a lot of things. And I don't know if you're gonna wanna do that, something to think about, but there needs to be coordination. And you're not gonna have as beautiful and the other lady, so, you know, something to think about. We do need a Park and Rec director.
So, like the other night, we had the bingo was for the Legion, it was for, and we go to that every year, it's a fun thing, the kids love it, we love it, and I think something, you know, do something like that, I mean,
There used to be a Christmas one, a Thanksgiving and a Christmas one.
Yep.
I mean, I came out with 2 turkeys and a ham, so.
So let's do it more often.
There's a Christmas cookie bingo coming up next weekend.
Yeah.
Well,
But this is, I know I, you know, stepped on you, sorry, hope your toes don't hurt. But I think that you've done a really good job, you worked really well with
Yeah.
everybody. I want you to consider it, because we can keep on saying we need it and we're gonna do it, and we need somebody that's gonna be able to do that, so. If you wanna say yes right now, all right. If you wanna think about it, well, all right.
well, it is a position I'm very interested in, yes.
Okay.
When this all, after I propose, you know, get all this information for you, yes, you know, whatever can happen from there.
Okay.
I would like to know though, if you go ahead with all, if this is all okay, any like mailing or copies, stuff like that, would you consider that I can submit that as an expense report?
That's an ongoing budget from Park and Rec.
Do you plan to do a survey type thing?
Yes, the survey, there's several ways, you know, through the school, through the, that bulk bill, $118 for everybody. There's all kinds, like I said, I don't have anything concrete that I can really propose right now, but it has to be a survey such that I get constructive feedback versus, oh, I really, you know, a lot of I wishes. I wishes are great, but we can't do everybody's I wishes. So, to find out, you know, really what the need is. And of course, everything's gotta be in baby steps. You can't do anything without taking care of a little bit, a little bit, a little bit. You can't do it, you know. That's the way a program lasts forever, is when you do it in baby steps.
So, playing along with what you're talking about, I was contacted by Natalie Brandt, who wants to start a nature club in town that would be free of cost. So she sent me a little description, if everybody's okay with me reading it. She's a certified naturalist
Yes.
who is willing to bring outdoor programs to Elkton for all ages. The classes would be free of cost. There would be 1 to 2 programs per month. The programs will all have a topic, craft, and show and tell. Some of the classes will be outside too, but this time of year mostly inside. Some wintertime classes are snowshoeing, snowshoeing for families and youth, and the equipment would all be supplied. Cross-country skiing, furs and skulls, habitat in the winter, hunting 101, raptors, predators, nature photography. And then she would change the programs for every season. She is also, or was an outdoor educator for the game fishing parks as well, so she has experience doing that. And she would like to start in January if it's possible. She couldn't come to our meeting tonight, but she said she'd be available next month if we had any questions for her.
She was also at the outdoor campus in Sioux Falls for several years.
Oh, so you.
I know Natalie.
Yeah.
Well, there
She's
you go.
she's an Elkton hometown girl.
All right.
And that's not her married name anymore.
No, sorry. I used her maiden name, so everybody knew who I was talking about.
May I interject something here as well? I think everybody was here when we talked about the different grants, such as safe routes for schools, I think is what it's called. And there are several other grants that come in under Park and Rec and around Park and Rec. And I think with an up and going Park and Rec such as this, the different programs that you would be able to work in, I think that would be a a real good thing to have already in place. And then some grants would be able to work around it. See, we have this. So I think that would be, so you might have to think about being in contact a little sooner. That's wonderful.
I would like to say that, you know, one sentence I still would like to share, and it is something that, you know, the success of any project is, you know, best achieved through group and ideas and input. And anything constructive should always be considered. So whether it's yourselves or somebody you know, or anything like that, you know, it has to be a group effort, it has to be a community effort. So. Okay, I'm done talking. That's more than I wanted to do.
I also have a couple other contacts for activities that
Okay.
showed interest, so I'll
Okay.
email them to you.
Okay.
Fire department, anything?
I haven't heard.
Ambulance?
Yes, we're trying to get your CPR class set up.
Do you think that
I
they
gotta
will
see if I
work?
can find, do we need the literature in Spanish?
No,
All right, then we can do it. I'll talk
No.
to your husband's off work, right?
For what?
Just teaching CPR.
We'll find out for sure on Thursday when he is up, if he continues to be off work or not.
I'm off that night, so we'll.
What night is that?
December.
next Monday,
Night?
next Monday.
That would be a
So we will-
scheduled day that he would work, but he's home by 6.
I get enough instructors to do that. And then, I just got informed by the Medicare and Medicaid that we are being audited. We have to provide data to the Medicare and Medicaid from January 1st of this year to December 31st of next year. Every month, I gotta go in and give them information.
He won't be available next Monday. He's got schoolwork.
Okay. I get something else. So I gotta set on a 5-hour phone call with Medicare Thursday. They're gonna tell me all the data we need to give them. And if we don't do it, it's not done right, we won't be able to get that care. We have to choose which ones.
That's not good.
Jump through hoops.
That's something they do every so often.
And then we had to put a bunch of money into the ambulance to start with.
It's kinda needed.
Yep.
Yes, and then there was a mix-up because I was at work when it happened, and they called me, and I said, just call David Whisker. Nobody called him, so I called him, he came in and looked at it. Never called me back. Went back home, so the next day Aaron called me, said, hey, what's going on? I said, I don't know. I told David to look at it, he has to call me back. He said, well, I'm gonna have it towed, so they towed it to Aurora. As soon as I left to go to Aurora, David called me, he said, hey, I got a starter for that ambulance, I'm on my way in to put it in. I said, you have to do it down on the highway, because it's on the way to Aurora now. And he wasn't upset or anything. And then we're gonna put a windshield in.
Yep.
So,
Well, reach out if you need to,
well, because I'm just Medicare stuff's gonna be fill out the Medicare application, it's 62 pages. And if you make a mistake, they don't tell you what you did wrong. They just send it back to you. So when I did this, I filled it out how many times? 10?
I don't know, it was awful.
And they won't tell you what you did wrong. I'd call Fargo and I'd say, hey, what did you wrong? And they said, we can't tell you that.
That's just ridiculous.
So what I was doing wrong is I wasn't putting myself down as an employee with my social security. Put my social security number in.
Okay, library report.
Hey, she regrets she couldn't come. Where did it go? Story Hour Go is going well. The nice weather has helped attendance. The library will have a tree for at the Festival of Trees. I received the program manual for the 2020 summer reading program, so I've started looking through it and getting ideas. Holidays hours will be Tuesday and Wednesday, December 24th and 25th. Closed,
Closed,
sorry,
that was
missed
told.
that. Closed Tuesday and Wednesday,
It's only
December
open
24th.
Christmas Eve.
And also Tuesday and Wednesday, December 31st and January 1st. The next library board meeting will be Wednesday, January 15th at 5 p.m.
And finance officer.
spoke to Dave Miller, the code enforcement officer. He said, I'll sign the contract and send in a $1,500 check in January. I'm gonna go ahead and forward him our ordinance book, so he has a chance to look through it. He said March, April, May, depending on the snow, he'll, come in and take his first gander, whatever about that. Tomorrow, I will be going to Brookings to attend the FEMA disaster meeting for this current September disaster, declaration. Get us signed up for that, and, hopefully, I have some invoices saved back from from September that we paid, plus we'll see what they'll accept or whatever. January is the, community club banquet, January 16th. Any council members that are interested in going, let me know. We pay for your ticket to go, and also employees that we pay for those as well. We are members, obviously, of that. How are you guys coming on the contract for municipal league district meeting? That needs to be returned by December 15th.
Yep.
You've got
It's
one?
all, yeah, it's
Okay,
all
because I have
taken care
the
of.
original here, so I didn't know.
No, oh, well, maybe I can,
Okay.
I'll talk to you now. Oh, you're not gonna be?
I'll be here just sometime after, if the meeting's at 9, so I assume I'll be back by noon, for sure.
Call me when you get back.
Okay,
I'll re-
if I remember.
Okay.
Just got a letter from Brookings Still Rural Water, effective February of 2020. We will have an increase in our monthly bill for them, so our water purchased from them that we bill out, obviously, is going from our current is $300 minimum with a $2.05 per 1,000 gallon rate. It's going up to $310 minimum to $220 per 1,000 gallons. So, I'm pretty sure right now we're okay. I'm gonna work with Leanne with possibly increasing rates and before we actually have to move forward with our increase in rates for the surcharge and all that stuff. Sent off stuff to the auditor, so that was done. He hasn't contacted me back. I wanted to speak again with you guys about upgrading my office. I got a quote, I think I told you I got a quote from Office Peaks in Brookings, making a 2-desk system in there, so it would look like this. I think even if we don't hire somebody else, it would be good, like if somebody comes in, like the mayor comes in and needs space, instead of sitting in here, you've got that space. It also makes, a customer service desk space for people, so they're, not in my business. I mean, I know my desk is messy and I'm working on every day to try to clean it up, but it is my working desk. That's where, especially right before and right after council meetings, it's a disaster because of what I'm doing. But I honestly still feel having somebody extra in the office, this is the quote price,
Said that.
would help. Utilities would be strictly on them. They would help me get things done that are extra on top of everything else I do. I don't know what your feelings are since we've been without since August. I would, prefer an answer sometime, but, I think that's it. December, over Christmas break, I will be taking time off. I'll leave, usually last year I didn't because of council meeting, but because the council meeting is the next week after Christmas, I'll take off quite a bit of that time during that Christmas break. But I'll post it on the door, they can reach me at home. I will be in periodically to do stuff. Any questions?
You have
They're
some
just-
down.
It's like 3 pages of pictures and 6 pages of quote. It's like $3,600 for the system. And, the stuff we got right now, I usually probably sell it. It still works. Might save one of the desks for another location, but.
Everybody be okay if we jump down to new business, so, we can get through Leanne here and get her on her merry way, since she's got a little drive?
Sure.
It's okay with me. I'm Leanne Kurzman with Midwest Assistance Program. I became involved with your community because you applied for an SRF loan. Sorry, I've got other business cards in there, did I give you the right one? Part of when you get an SRF loan, the state contracts with my company, we come out and do a capacity assessment review. Make sure you've got technical, managerial, and financial capacity to have that loan. And after discussing with you guys, we came up with a couple of things that we would work on. The water rate review. I should have looked them up, there was 3 things. We were gonna look at spending authority for employees, so you know how much money you can spend without having to go to the council. Is there something else, Susan, do you remember off the top of your head?
I just think just updating the emergency
Response plan? And part of that is covered under my contract with the state, so I cost you nothing. It's to help make sure and improve your water and wastewater systems. So, I did speak with Naima. She called the South Dakota Municipal League and asked for a reference. She had some questions, so. I am also a former city finance officer. I have 15 years experience. I was previously in Toronto and most recently in Del Rapids, so. I have a little experience in city government. I also worked with Perkins Utilities for 10 years, so. I'm your free resource. So just so you know, I'll be around working, and we're gonna get some data together, and we'll probably do the water rate study first.
Well, they're both pretty, well, sewer needs it bad too.
Right now, I'm only being paid for the water portion because you applied for an SRF loan on water. But we'll have most of the information put together, so it'll be easy for you to plug in wastewater.
Now, there's some other stuff that you can do too, huh?
Just because of my experience, yes, while I'm here. Oh, we talked about a council training.
Yes.
Thank you, I blanked. That just requires your participation. I was taking notes as you conduct your meeting. You corrected yourself and fixed a few things right away and came through very smoothly. I was impressed, good job. So if you're willing, I would, maybe a council meeting night, come an hour early. We will discuss running a drinking water system. There's some things I think a lot of council members aren't aware of that their employees are responsible for. And I think when you understand what they're getting asked to do for their positions, like being a certified operator and the requirements, it helps you to understand how to manage their positions better. So just getting a date set up is probably the hardest part. Winter, I guess, is good. We delayed a little. We were talking about it, but you were flooding, so I waited. So if you let Susan know when a date would work well, that would be great. We'll get that scheduled and done for you.
The other thing that I was impressed with, because everybody thinks that she walks that far above water, not on water, she floats above
Thank
it.
you.
And because there are issues that presented themselves when new to council came up both times, she would be able to do a pretty good understanding, give us all an understanding, new to council, what is expected for an aldermanic government, which is what we are. And I think that it would be really, really good, as everybody got that PDF, then she would be able to, with the PDF, and we could go through, there could be questions that can be asked. You would be able to know what is okay to talk about at a council meeting, and you know, what you're not supposed to, what kind of violates things. So I think that would be really, really good outside of the other stuff that she does. I had sort of kind of mentioned too, sort of backing up on what you're talking about, the possibility of having people come in to know what goes on within a finance officer's mail you, without, you know, looking at and going, oh, you got, you know, you go, no, but this is what it's about. And that might help, and people can come in, just like what Anastasia did, she was here and so on, so that would be free training, and we could have some people come in, and we could even sit in on everything, so we know what a council person needs to know about what a finance officer does, what a finance officer goes through. We could open it up to the community, because there's no secrets here. So I would hope that we would avail ourselves of her brain and just not pick it, clean it, not what I use. Just to be able to, you know, utilize your expertise.
I am planning my training sessions for this coming year. I do also have a 4-hour session that, as long as we could invite other area communities to come in. New council training is the biggest request that I get.
Yeah.
It's either finance officers or new council. So I'd be glad to do that for you as well. I know White would be interested in attending. Just the small ones of the same size.
Same size.
Mm-hmm. Aldermanic and trustee forms, they would get a lot out of it.
Right?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, so we're looking at 4 hours. And
It's fun, trust me. It's not death by PowerPoint.
Do we do it across the street?
You set the
I
location.
I'll set the back
Set it
room
up. Here's
I'll
the
set the back room
manager.
up for you. We'll even bring in some partitions, so you
Evenings,
won't be bothered.
daytime, whatever you prefer, it's totally fine with me.
Excellent. And then, that would be for us, and then for the understanding, the finance officer would obviously have to be when she's there, because we want her to come in. And then we can figure out a time for that and let everybody come in, and that'd be good. Because I like the idea of the community not being confused and not knowing exactly what goes on. And so we're gonna find out what goes on, the community will be able to find out what goes on, and then we would be able to get even more people interested. I think that that would be really good.
I think that'll help too if we do something along the lines of what a council member does.
Mm-hmm.
Filling those seats is gonna be easier if you know what you're getting into before you step
Most
into those shoes.
definitely.
And know that you're not alone, don't get left out.
Arguments in the community over project work, or why do you do this, why do you do that, it helps if they understand. You've got your city ordinances, and we'll explain why you can do what you can. Some state law and some's local. There's reasons for everything, it all ties together.
And
We'll
if
set a
we,
date.
and if we mess up, then everybody has to pay because we get, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's better to be safe than sorry. What is that, a stitch in time saves 20 or whatever that is. Christie would know more about that. But this is wonderful. I think that this is us showing how progressive we can be. I think that's really good. And then next we get emails for everybody on the city council so that they can be in the loop. Because, and I know this is off topic, and I know this is off topic, but I want to present to you something that I found myself doing as I was looking at information coming to me. I thought about the fact that I'm using my own personal computer, my own personal address. My husband doesn't look at it, the kids don't look at it, but what if? And I don't want to be responsible for that, so I think that was on the back of my mind. I didn't get into the, but I think that's something else that we need to consider, and she's shaking her head yes, so I think I'm on the right path.
We can do that. It's easy.
Cool beaners.
Yes, and that's another means of communication for the public to be
Mhm.
contacting us. It's sometimes easier to send an email than it is to make a phone call or knock on somebody's door.
Email, you know who's sending it, or a voicemail or a note shoved under your door. My husband was the mayor, I know.
Oh!
You're scaring me.
I got some history.
Well, that's okay, and you're young yet.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Leanne? You good with that?
January, we try to schedule about then, get through Christmas at least, and
Probably not before our council meeting, we'll probably have zoning.
Yeah,
Yep.
redoing all of our zoning work and then working on a 5-year plan and a,
is it easier to try to get this done in the winter before you start farming? And
Yes.
Yeah.
I think so too.
And I think 4 hours,
Meeting,
I
4
think
hours.
4 hours is, cause you sit back and go like this, oh, it's 5 to 7.
Well, we can say at 5:30 and we'll take a break and eat something if you want. I'll try to, I don't like to have people there until 11 at night or something. And I'm thinking evenings would probably work best with your schedules. It would help for other communities to be able to attend in the evening too, so.
Right, and everybody get on the same page.
And if, honestly, in the bar, if you've got a food option, that'd be great. So,
Pizzas, I don't eat
Pizzas.
that much. Local dining.
That'd work.
probably help.
we'll get a date set.
She'll deliver.
yes,
Yep, that's
Okay.
true.
awesome.
Those pizzas look delicious, I see them.
Yeah, really good. All right, street department snow removal, holiday pay. Do you have information for us?
That was Greg, I think. Did you speak to Greg?
I thought he was having you pull it up though, what our
Oh.
current stuff is.
He didn't ask me to bring it, I sent it to him, but I can certainly get it and let you know.
Does that work?
Okay.
Yeah, he just told me about it and thought that you would have it.
Of course.
The, let's see, okay. I like to go through and, oh, did you get?
I don't have a list.
The extra people down there for snow removal.
Yep.
Do they bill you or are they hired hourly?
That's what I was gonna talk to you about. I think it's an hourly deal.
Your name should be listed in your minutes if they're hourly. Then they're covered by insurance.
Okay.
This is what?
The people that he listed that would assist with snow removal,
Mm-hmm.
they should be listed in your minutes, so they're covered in workers' comp. As long as the name is listed as a volunteer even, they're covered.
I'm prone to know.
Okay. There's no, what we have doesn't cover what Steve is asking about. So, for, holiday pay, Steve and I talked about this before that came through with Greg. If they work on a holiday and then, but don't work over 40 hours, they don't get paid extra.
What?
Yeah, we need to change that.
I know, so like say he worked Thanksgiving, I don't think you did.
I did.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Every
Every
holiday,
day.
it seems like every paid holiday, we
Right.
end up doing something.
Every single.
So yeah,
Especially
so
in
if he
the
worked the holiday, he gets 8 hours for the holiday, and whatever he puts in is extra. Say he takes the next day, part of that day off. If his total hours during the week do not exceed 40 hours, he doesn't get paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, so he's asking about changing that.
Anything that-
So if I
Yeah.
came in on Veterans Day to work because I didn't need to take the day off. But I didn't get, that was volunteer. That was my choice to come in. I wouldn't, and then I took hours off after that. I wouldn't get paid more than that. And also if you get over, you have to work 40 hours. So even if he goes to 48 hours, he didn't work total of 40 hours, or he didn't work that extra 8 hours that was actually holiday pay. So he wouldn't get overtime with that. He would get straight comp time, not time and a half. Does that make sense?
Okay, it depends.
So really, realistic, we just have to,
You would,
if your holiday pay counts as hours worked, it would work out.
yes.
Yeah.
So, okay, my husband works at 3M. He gets paid for the holiday and then paid for the hours on top of that.
In a lot of places, it's you get 8 hours holiday pay, and then you get time and a half for those hours on holiday.
We get 6.5 hours. We get paid time and a half for the shift we work, and then they give us 6.5 extra. But you're already getting 8 hours every holiday day.
Yeah. I think time and a half work on
Time and a half
holiday
for
is
any hours
more
you
than
work.
fair.
And what do we need to do to change that?
We just need to change it in our policy. And it would. And that I don't, should go to everybody, just the street department, just, I mean, I don't know if you can limit it, I mean, obviously.
Everybody who works.
If I choose to come in and I don't have to, I don't expect you to pay.
So
me time.
in your case, Susan, like what my wife does sometimes, she'll have to work a holiday, but so that
So
give
they
her.
would take off.
Yeah,
the
she'll get an
period.
extra day off.
Right, yeah.
If she wanted it.
Right, that's the way I feel, that's
Okay.
usually how I do it if I
Yeah.
have to work.
And I think that's fair too.
Yeah, okay, okay.
So
The other
bar
question.
personnel,
What?
that go for the bar personnel too?
He's salaried, so I don't think so.
What about anybody else?
Plus how about the hourly?
Hourly, they don't get holiday pay,
Yeah,
they're all part-time. But I don't know if you wanna change it or not, I mean, yeah, it would be an incentive to work that holiday, but
They don't really work any holidays.
we don't, we're not open Thanksgiving, we've never been open Christmas. They usually, a lot of times they are open 4th of July and Labor Day, I believe. Memorial Day, I can't remember, they used to be a holiday you couldn't be open on, and I think that's changed now. But, you know, our holidays also include, well, we don't have all the federal holidays, but we do New Year's, which the bar is open for, Good Friday, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Native Americans Day, Veterans, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, we get a half day, and Christmas Day. Those are our holidays.
Working in that line of work my entire life, and you don't get holiday pay, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
It's a little different, cause it's a city-owned bar, I guess, but.
It's, you know, he can choose to close it if they don't have anybody to work.
Isn't he closed New Year's Day?
No,
Isn't that one of the days he picked?
I don't think so, I hope not, because that's usually, those 2 days are usually pretty good. The other question they had was, callback, minimum callback pay. You know, you go in for, say, you're in there for half an hour, but because you had to come in, you get paid for a set amount, like, say, 2 hours. I mean, you're going in after hours, after you've been there all day. Right.
We get 2 hours. No.
Yeah, 2 hours. That's also union negotiated too, so.
You could have a pump alarm that takes 5 minutes, it could be.
Right, well, that's like with me too. I was asked to come down to put an agenda up, and, you know, and I did. I mean, I'm not saying that that's what we should, that was just a question that came up.
It needs to be across the board, we don't need to nitpick, it all washes out in the end.
Well, you have to make a decision what you want, so.
That's mine. 2 hours seems to be everybody. So 2 hour, minimum callback pay. And, go ahead and do the policy change for the holiday. And then the street department snow removal, what was that in particular?
I think that was kind of,
Snow removal on holidays, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
that
that's
was-
all tied to what.
Is that all
yeah,
the
cause
same thing?
that's the way, the other, did you talk to, do you wanna bring up that other, the question about your vacation and stuff?
Yeah, I guess when we get our vacation time, I'm accruing comp time for all this water stuff that we have. I have quite a bit of vacation time that I'm required to use up.
You have 90, okay, so we require you use up, you can carry over 40 hours. He has 96 and a half hours remaining for the end of the year. He's not going to be able to take off 50 hours, obviously. The book says that if whatever's not over what we carry over, you get paid out at quarter?
Half, isn't it?
I don't remember, hold on.
Well,
50%, yeah, half
Taking
pay.
some time off in the summer there, Steve.
Yeah.
So
I
he's
can't
looking
get
for
o-
an
I can't get
exception
across
to
the
the
tracks half
rule
the
right now,
time.
since he can't feasibly take off, he would have taken off more time this summer if he could have.
Instead of going outside of Elkton, somebody
And
calls
then-
you.
yeah. Exactly.
So he's just looking for leniency for this year to carry over more hours than the 40.
Well, we got a lot of guys in the same boat too right now. I gotta burn hours by the 14th.
Yeah, but you have more people on staff,
Yeah.
so you can.
He's doing you a big courtesy by not just taking off the rest of December. which he could
Exactly,
do.
exactly.
I can't take a day off, let alone.
So naturally then, between the two of you, you know finance, what, in his situation, because you got a lot more people, what would you suggest,
The more hours he books, every time he gets a pay raise, that's what you're paying out if he bundles those up to leave and then leaves the position. So that's the negative side to holding extra hours, is that it increases the longer he stays and it grows, which is a good thing. It's longevity employee and they deserve that bonus. I can carry 240 hours, so 40 seems low to me. It gives him a little disability coverage if he break a leg
When
or
this
something.
book was recreated, we had one employee that had a lot of hours banked, and our old ordinance book didn't allow any carryover, so it was just, nobody
something.
enforced it. And so that's why they wanted to hit 40 hours only.
You can make a one-time exception with a council action just in the minutes, or you can change your policy if you want to do an entire policy review of your employee policy book.
When do you get your vacation? Is it all January 1st?
No, we used
Or
to,
do you accrue it?
it used to be January 1st for full-time employees, obviously, now it's monthly. So at the first of the month, I put in my spreadsheet, and on their time card stuff, like, his is 5.33 hours of sick time and 6.67 hours of vacation time every month.
So how much does he incur in a year, 40 hours?
For 40 hours right now, so you're in, what are you in, you'll be third year.
I think I've used like 6 hours of actual vacation since I've been working here.
yeah,
Aren't most places way, like, my company, or even right when you start and you get your vacation time, it's, you can carry over double of what you incur in a year.
Isn't that how most places are?
Well, because
No.
we're kind of in the same line, so my comp time, I have to be down to 40 hours by cutoff at the end of the year. Comp time, my vacation I have to stay at 280 every month. I can't go over 280 or else I lose it, so I gotta keep it down.
What do you get in a year, though?
He's used
I get 10 hours a month.
I got both, but they pay.
The vacation.
120,
So-
so
so John-
280, that's more than
But
double.
yours is, it's ongoing, right? That 280. I mean,
Yeah, I can, every month though, I'm maxed out on vacation, so I have to keep that below 280.
right, or you
You
lose
don't
it.
get it anymore.
Or you lose
Yeah, I
it.
don't get any more,
No.
yeah, it's maxed out at 280.
Mhm.
But your rollover is more than double of what you get in a year.
You really don't have a rollover, it's ongoing.
Yeah, it's on.
It's not
yeah.
really a rollover.
Yeah, I just have to keep it below 280 at cutoff every month, or at 280.
But if you look at it yearly, you get 120 hours in a year. So you get 10 a month, and you're at 280, so that's more than double of what you incurred in a
Yeah.
year.
I,
Putting it into.
But I started
The
at,
state is.
I started at 6 hours a month, now I'm up to 10 hours a month, just.
Yeah. What is the state? The state is 160
The
and.
state's not real great. They're kind of behind, honestly.
may I move, do what I need to do to, at this particular point in time, so we don't drag it on, just make a one-time exception for what you've done. And at some point in time, this will all get taken care of, and by this time next year, we'll have it all sorted out. But I think you need to be able to take that and bank it if that's. the
So
word
did this
to
all happen
use.
because we didn't pass that, because we passed it, what, 4 months ago, that you were finally able to get overtime pay instead of
So
comp time?
we're paying,
No,
we paid
Yeah,
out his comp time
That's
as we
just
needed.
comp time, this is just vacation
Oh.
time.
We're just discussing vacation.
Yeah,
He
sure.
can't take vacation.
The
'cause he's-
vacation time that I can't take.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
No.
Where are you gonna go when our water project's done? For like 2 months?
phone will be off,
Or-
don't know.
So what do we need to do?
Just a motion that
I move,
to allow Steve to carry over his current vacation time with no penalty.
Yeah, what you just said.
Is he the only employee?
He is.
In effect right now?
Right,
That.
yes. Eric's got 8.5 hours he has
Well,
to
I don't
use.
need to know,
you know.
is he the only employee?
He's the only one with
With
that.
that,
Yep.
so this is what I move and propose.
Can I get a second?
I'll second.
Okay, so we have a motion by Naima, second by Aaron to let, Steve carry over his current vacation time, one time, temporary into next year. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right.
Going back up, budget overview.
I passed out, the first budget overview through November, plus a transaction sheet that shows the balances in each of our accounts. Obviously, it looks pretty ugly because we are supplementing the budget today with what is needed for that. Is there any questions on anything?
The economic development because of the houses.
Yes. No, that was the purchase of the land.
Over here, Stace, or not, like.
No. No, yes, Leckerman's and Stipe's tax amount, I believe, I don't know. That might have been on the bid.
Is this something we have to make a motion on?
No, it's just for strictly information.
You're gonna have to help me with that for a little while.
That's all right.
Any questions? Susan on it? Alright. Hop down to ordinance 367, the 2019 budget supplement.
Okay, I passed out a copy of that for you to look at. The top portion is general fund coverages for, covered by undesignated fund balance in our general fund. And then the second, it's highlighted, the second penny funds, what we spent on for that, the land purchase, the tiling project, and then covering the code enforcement, which would be tearing down the house. For a total of $141,221.36. We need a motion to pass this.
That's the same as last one.
It's a little bit higher.
Higher.
A little bit higher. A couple of the things changed.
Well, I'm not afraid to spend the money because it's
Most of this has already been spent.
been spent already.
And
So
if
I-
you notice in our budget overview, we have an overage of 19,000 of
$19,000.
revenue that came in. Most of that's on taxes and sales tax and property tax. They both went over what was budgeted, projected.
So I move that it be accepted. As stated in here, no typos.
Who said that?
I'll second.
Thanks. Okay, so we have a motion by Naima, second by Aaron to approve the ordinance number 367, 2019 budget supplement. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And ordinance 368, the transient merchant.
Okay, it's, I'm not reading it, but it's an ordinance, establish provisions for transient merchants within the city of Elton. You've all seen it, back in June or July. It's regular, they will have to come to conform, pay a minimal fee, provide their state sales tax license, so they are legal within our state collecting sales tax and abiding by the rules. That way, if somebody in the community says, hey, somebody's trying to sell something, they need to be sent down to my office to make sure. And quite a few that come into town already, they do contact me and, I just say, we would like a copy of your sales tax license so that we know that you've registered with the state of South Dakota. That's my spiel for them. Now I can say, no, you've gotta come fill out this form. So,
Can we get a couple signs ordered for peddler's license required to put up entryways into town? Maybe like 3 of them, that way they know, because I know we have a few that come, like the ice cream truck, the taco trucks are here on a regular basis in the summer. That way
Right.
they know. So, who orders their signs?
Question, then what about, would that be also for like when I had the Main Street Market, or
no.
then,
When we said no to that type, craft type market, like Naima's market that they do, then we said no to that.
well, technically, I mean, we're supposed to submit their names to the state, and then they have to give them a paper and they're supposed to have to take care of it. That's the way you do vendors.
Well, no, I think his name was Greg, and we had a long conversation, and there was a big discussion. And I just said, well, if I have to do all this, then I just won't be able to hold it because, He said, well, never mind, yours is really small, that's okay, you're a small city and everything will be okay. I said, you sure? Yeah, are you willing to put that in writing? Yeah, go ahead, it's okay. So
I'd like to see the writing.
yeah, so technically we're okay.
Because I have to do that when I vend at quilts shows,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not that big. But anyway, that answers my question about coming to the office, okay.
No, wait, now, I'm confused too, you're talking about bringing it in under one umbrella? Or are you speaking of having all the people come in?
No, I was wondering if they had to,
Oh,
but no, they don't have to, okay.
oh, I so moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Is that John?
Yeah.
You guys gotta change the level of your voice, I don't have to look at you. Okay, so we have a motion by Naeem, a second by John for ordinance
It was.
368, for the transient merchant, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
And along with that, the signs will be there as well? Do they have signs, or would you have to make some, or look that up?
They have them, you just gotta order them.
Okay, so you'll do that then? Okay, cool.
Well, and those type of events, like whether yours or like the Makers Market, those also bring in tourism tax as well,
Yep.
on top of it, so
Yep.
it's also extra revenue coming in.
That's why we have to report them.
It doesn't end up being a lot. See, and so like with my business going in, I don't ever fill out the form they give you because I'm filing it under, but I have to still put in my tourism tax when I go and do those.
You're supposed to send that form in, you don't have to give them the info, but you're supposed to send it in.
They told me I didn't have to.
Oh, you do.
That's a discussion for a whole nother
Doing it
time.
for years without. Okay.
Yeah.
Unfinished business. Infrastructure projects, do you have any updates for us?
I talked to Scott, about some tiling north of town, but he wasn't able to get over here in time to just kind of get a plan laid out so I can present it to you guys, but, haven't heard from Jeff, so nothing there.
Still thinking January for the bid dates, so.
Yes, as far as.
Was that gonna get surveyed or anything, or
What's that?
to out there,
The tiling? He's got it all done already.
or? Oh, it is,
Yeah.
done. Okay.
Yeah, he's got some numbers and stuff, but he couldn't get over here, so.
Okay.
Site property?
Okay, so the Economic Development Corporation is wanting to take possession of that land to sell it. They wanted to know what we want for it, meaning
$1 million.
they wouldn't pay us for it, but they would collect what we want for it, and it would be brought to us. Does that make sense? Okay, so we paid $6,800 for demolition, plus an additional $600 to remove the tree stumps to Double D. the legal fees of $1282.22, landfill cost of $1,079.10, and taxes of $4,423.88. So that total comes to $15,570.40. Was our cost.
Well, that's about what it cost around here,
Right. So
so.
What do they have plans to use with that?
I
lot?
believe they're going to sell it to somebody to build a house.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That, I think
Bump
that's
it
the
up
plan.
5,000, make it 20.
I'm sure that's the plan, and we can stipulate that that's what it's going to be used for. We don't, I don't think we wanna turn it into parking lot.
No.
I mean,
We need to.
right.
This is the property that's over by the park.
Yep.
Yeah.
413 Badger Street.
Okay.
Can we turn that back into a property? We're gonna get our property tax off of it.
Yeah. So, do we say that's the price we want for it?
Well, what's the price, you talk 15?
The total price is 15, that we paid was $15,570.40.
But that lot is big lot.
Big lot.
And we were thinking 20,000.
Certainly,
Well, how many years have we owned it? I mean,
we haven't owned it.
It's just,
We just purchased it.
Right, but the demolition's been a year. I mean, you gotta carry that money and you gotta make interest on that money.
Yes.
We downloaded in June.
Right. So I mean, so you got $15,000 that you carried on interest. I mean, I know we just paid the taxes and stuff.
that, I don't think that's all though, because we have attorneys that are, attorneys fees that are in there as well.
Oh, I told you
And
that.
that, but, okay,
There was $1,000 and, $1282 in attorney fees.
What's the size
That's-
of that lot?
It's, I believe it's 125 by 165. is
It's a
what-
big lot.
It's, yes and no. My lot is 100 by 165, yeah.
What?
It's all about location.
Did you surplus it or gift it to economic
We
development?
haven't done
No.
that yet, but we will gift it to them, is the plan.
Your surplus property laws is what you're gonna have to follow, and they can recoup your costs for you,
Yep,
and
that's-
then they'll keep the profit or any additional.
additional.
Can we put stipulations on what they use it for or no?
Yes,
Sort of.
because you're gifting it to them. It gives you a lot of leeway using your economic development group to utilize the property. It's a good
Also, we
thing.
can't tell them we want them to give us 20,000, we just get back what we want.
My best advice is reread your surplus property to make sure you're doing it. You can get 3 appraisals of it, but when it's property that you've taken back because of taxes and dilapidated house, I would have to reread just to be fresh on it, but there are laws in place that you're gonna wanna follow.
Okay. Well, we work closely with the attorney too, so.
Yep. I just thought before the discussion got crazy, I'd interject a little.
And thank you so much.
We can always bring it, discuss it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just bringing it
Nobody's
forward.
building a
as-
house right now, so
So
it's
we
okay.
tabled it.
It'd be nice to see like a big duplex or something over there. Enough room for a duplex on that lot, right?
Oh, yes.
There's a duplex next door.
Quadruplex.
Yeah.
It's a good place for it. Nothing being right by it. Okay, moving on.
I did mean to mention this. This is the actual letter that they provided for the ESL class that you guys wanted to know how it evolved or whatever. They began in Flandre last year by assisting the SSU faculty in efforts of teaching ESL to the immigrant families there. We felt it would be great to offer the program in Elkton. Also, we were thrilled to be when the city agreed to let us use the community center free of charge. It's a fabulous space for this, since it is so large and ample room to accommodate the children who come with the parents as well. Learning English is the #1 request from the immigrants, and many do not have resources to do this on their own. Due to the grant from Altruista Services Organization in Brookings, we had funds to purchase books that we've been using and will continue to use for the next year at least. We hope to continue the program as long as possible. The number of students has fluctuated, but we have from 14 to 16 students who are very diligent in attending each week. When the SDSU students are not available for teaching, the program will continue with members from Altrusa, Bienvenidos, and SDSU faculty taking on the responsibility. Thank you so much for your interest in making these families feel welcome in the community.
Do we have any committee reports? Let's pay the bills.
Here are some additions that came in. These are, if there are duplicates of ones that are already on the list, these are instead of what's on your firm's list in front of you.
Do you have the receipts for the credit cards?
Yes.
Can you look at those?
Sure.
Did they say how far out that jetter was, or lead time?
Originally, they said 6 to 8 weeks, so, done more, so.
I'm glad we didn't get this.
For your sake.
Yeah.
Really?
Think it's two different ones?
Yeah, so there's one for, that I have, so it's me, and then I've given the card number to Sherry. She doesn't always give me receipts for them, but you can see what, and then there's Steve's, and then there's one for the bar.
Okay.
Yeah, I was hoping they would all be combined, but they aren't. Which, in a way, is good too.
I forgot to ask you, how many, credits did we end up using on that robocall?
It wasn't quite 100, I don't think. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up.
Did you share can they fill out the form online?
I had shared it originally. I can
Do they
reshare
have
it.
to print it and send it in,
Yeah.
or can they, should look and see if we can do like a digital filling out of it, and then it compiles it? and
Yeah,
sends it
because,
to
okay,
you?
I did create a file and I started putting on other information to send out to the mass mailing, and then I'm like, there's so little extra information besides just the actual fill out application that I'm like, but then you're gonna send it to people that have already filled it out. So I think it's I don't know, so I haven't sent it.
Well, maybe we can put in there, move your cars off the alley and snow removal information.
Right, so,
Hey,
yeah.
what was the excavator rental for?
Oh, to dig out the,
Oh,
main line all the way out of town, those 10 manholes,
you know,
across
it's
Connell's Field.
you know, it's very expensive house.
I
Nice.
use it all the
I
time.
don't see a weight.
I'll borrow it for that price.
There you go.
Oh, it's 'cause this is the color.
Yeah.
Oh. As long as somebody just reviews each one, I think.
A lot of pump parts, Steve, I don't know.
Yeah.
It wears out.
Well, when you find rags now.
Door, is it a door now?
Yep, wood, doorknob, wash rag.
Can I get a motion to pay the bills?
I move. We pay the bills.
Second.
John?
John.
I was looking for John, I got it. All right, we have a motion by Naeem, a second by John to approve the claim payments and bills. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Do we need anything else? Are we good?
I have-
Sheriff's report?
Yeah, it's full.
Oh, you have that, don't you?
She said she sent it to
It's
me.
right
Yeah.
here. Are you gonna compile that into a spreadsheet?
No. You can request that from them, they've done it before.
You requested from them, Marty told me no.
Oh, really?
Said then the bad guys know when we come.
Oh, that,
Oh.
yeah.
I just wanted to know the number of calls that they get and what they come to town for mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Ours should be on there. Oh, sweet.
Alright. Get a motion to adjourn, or we wanna say anything out?
It's been so much fun.
Hour and 35 minutes, I'm impressed.
Wait a
Yes.
minute.
Do we,
Are you saying we're not gonna have a
Do it.
executive
I was gonna
session?
say, that's gotta be like a first.
Or, is that what you're
y'all
saying?
you gotta make a motion for an executive session, I can't do that anymore.
I'll make a motion to adjourn?
I'll second.
Go ahead, Scotty.
Motion by John, second by Scott to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
So, on this.
I'm gonna try to get one.
It's 18:06.
Maybe we could shut that off if the light bulb's not ready.
I can shut it off, I think I know how. So I just hit stop?
That's the only reason I wanna watch it.